I'm going to show you how to add and subtract negative numbers. This calculation is 7 add negative 3. When I add a negative number, I can circle these two signs and change them to a takeaway. So this calculation becomes 7 take away 3. Using my number line, I start at 7 and I take away 3. 1, 2, 3, and I end up at 4. This calculation is 1 take away negative 5. When I take away a negative number, I can circle these two signs and change them to an add. So this calculation becomes 1 add 5. I start at 1 and I add 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and end up at 6. This calculation is 4 take away positive 2. Now you won't see this kind of situation in real life, but you might see it in an exam paper because you're really just taking 2 away from 4. But when I take away a positive number, I can circle these two signs, change it to a takeaway. So this calculation becomes 4 take away 2. I start at 4 and I take away 2, so I end up at 2. This calculation is negative 2 add negative 3. When I add a negative number, I circle these two signs and change them to a takeaway. So this calculation becomes negative 2 take away 3. Using my number line, I start at negative 2 and I move down 3 spaces as I'm taking away 3, and I end up at negative 5. This calculation is negative 6 take away negative 4. When I take away a negative number, I can circle these two signs and change them to an add. This calculation becomes negative 6 add 4. Using my number line, I start at negative 6 and I move up the number line 4 spaces because I'm adding on 4, so I end up at negative 2.